May 2, 1942 dawn. Brigadier Winterton was distributing his last ammunition. Japanese were preparing for morning assault. The circle had tightened. Maybe they could hold until noon. Then a strange sound was heard. From far away, from the north, gunfire. But different. Not British weapons. A soldier shouted, "Sir, explosion sounds to the north." Winterton grabbed binoculars, looked north, and saw thousands of soldiers. Green uniforms, flags, Chinese flag. "My God," Winterton said, "the Chinese, they actually came." General Wei's 38th Division had attacked Japanese lines from behind. The Japanese were shocked, caught in crossfire. British in front, Chinese behind. Wei's tactic was simple but effective. Drew all Japanese attention to himself. Shouted to the British, "Withdraw south, we'll hold them." Winterton gave the order. 7,000 British soldiers began withdrawing south through the corridor the Chinese opened. Wei's men held the Japanese for 12 hours. Fought for 12 hours. 3,000 Chinese soldiers died, but 7,000 British were saved. May 3rd, evening. The British 7th Armored Brigade was safe, had reached Indian positions. Winterton found General Wei. Wei was wounded, bullet in his arm, but standing. "General," Winterton said, you marched 650 kilometers to save us." Wei nodded. "Yes? Why?" Wei smiled, a tired smile. "Because your enemy is my enemy, and today I helped you, tomorrow you'll help me." Winterton extended his hand. Wei shook it. "China will never forget this debt," Winterton said. Wei's smile faded. "You will forget," he said. "All of you will forget." August 1945. Japan surrendered. October 1945. Churchill wrote in a letter to China, "The Yenangyaung terms were signed under wartime conditions. They are now void." Burma oil fields remain British. Hong Kong remained British. The £500 million credit was never paid. Military bases were never opened to Chinese. General Wei Lihuang was executed by Mao Zedong in 1960. His crime, collaboration with Westerners. Brigadier Winterton retired in 1946. Never mentioned Yenangyaung in his memoirs. Churchill died in 1965. Yenangyaung documents were declassified 17 years after his death, in 1982. Today, in the town of Yenangyaung in Burma, there's a small monument. It reads, "Here 7,000 British soldiers were saved by 15,000 Chinese troops. May 1942. Nobody visits the monument. Nobody knows, but military historians know the 650-kilometer march in 12 days is still an unbroken record. 15,000 soldiers risked their lives to save 7,000 of their enemy's men and received nothing in return." General Wei's last words before his execution, "At Yenangyaung I saved the British. Nobody thanked me. But let history note, the Chinese kept their word." This story shows that wars aren't won only with weapons. Sometimes the greatest victory is saving your enemy. And sometimes the greatest betrayal is when the saved forget. 650 kilometers, 12 days, 15,000 soldiers, 7,000 saved, and 40 years of silence. This is the story history tried to bury. April 20th, 1942, 2 a.m., London. 10 Downing Street. Churchill's private secretary, Anthony Bevins, entered the Prime Minister's office. Churchill sat at his desk, whiskey glass in hand. He looked tired, aged. "Sir, encrypted message from Chongqing," Bevins said. Churchill took the document. "Read it." His face darkened. The message was from General Wei. It listed his conditions. 1. All British oil fields in Burma to be transferred to China post-war. 2. £500 million credit line to be opened for Chinese expeditionary forces. 3. British military bases in India to be opened to Chinese troops. 4. Post-war Hong Kong to be returned to China. Churchill threw the document on the desk. "Madness," he said. "If I accept these terms, Parliament will lynch me." Bevins waited silently. Churchill lit his cigar, looked out the window. London was dark due to the blackout. 7,000 men, Churchill said. 7,000 British soldiers. They'll die there. Yes, sir. They have families. Yes, sir. Churchill turned. Options? None, sir. Churchill returned to the desk, picked up his pen, wrote 2 words at the bottom of the document. Accepted, Churchill. Then he looked at Bevins. This document will never enter history, understood? Yes, sir. It will remain classified for 40 years, maybe longer. Yes, sir. Churchill finished his drink. Go, send it to Chongqing, and may God forgive us. April 22, 1942. Kunming, China. General Wei assembled the 38th Division. 15,000 soldiers, most young, most inexperienced. But all had been fighting the Japanese for 4 years. Wei addressed them. We're going to Burma, 650 kilometers. We'll cross mountains, jungles, enemy lines. We'll save 7,000 British soldiers. Why? Because they're fighting our enemy. The Japanese, and my enemy's enemy is more valuable than my friend. The soldiers were silent. But know this, Wei said. Some of you won't return. This is a suicide mission, but if we succeed, China's name will be written in history with golden letters, and the British will never forget they owe us. Wei gave the order. Move out. 15,000 soldiers began marching. They had 12 days ahead of them. For 12 days, they would march without stopping, average 54 kilometers per day. In mountains, jungles, rain. No army in military history had covered this distance, at this speed, under these conditions. But Wei knew, if they didn't arrive in time, 7,000 British would die, and the price Churchill paid would be for nothing. Same day, Yenangyaung, Burma. Brigadier Winterton was counting his last bullets. 48 hours remained, maybe less. The Japanese attacked every night. Every day the circle tightened. British soldiers were hungry, thirsty, wounded. Ammunition was almost gone. On the morning of April the 23rd, Japanese loudspeakers broadcast in English. British soldiers, surrender. We will take you prisoner honorably. Resistance is foolish. No help is coming. Winterton listened to the loudspeakers, then looked at his men. Tired faces, hopeless eyes. We will not surrender, he said. The British Royal Army does not surrender. But inside he knew, 24 hours later they'd have no choice. That night, the radio operator received a message from Rangoon. Chinese 38th Division en route. Will reach you in 3 days. Hold on. Winterton read the message. Couldn't believe it. Chinese? Where will Chinese come from? Kunming is 650 kilometers away. The operator shrugged. I don't know, sir, but the message is from official source. Winterton looked at the map. There was no road from Kunming to Yenangyaung. Only mountains, jungles, Japanese-controlled territories. Impossible, he said, but we have no other choice. Tell the men, we hold for 3 more days. Wei's army was making history's fastest march, 50 to 60 kilometers per day, without rest, without stopping, only water breaks, eating while walking. Soldiers marched even as their feet bled, even with 30-kilo backpacks, even when mountains were steep. Wei marched at the front, a 47-year-old general with his soldiers, every step. April 27th, day 8. They encountered a Japanese patrol. Wei gave the order, eliminate silently. 35 Japanese killed with bayonets and knives, without sound, because one gunshot would alert Japanese units in the area. April 29th, day 10. The Salween River, 300 meters wide, deep, fast current. No bridge. Wei gave the order. Build rafts. Soldiers cut bamboo, tied them with rope, made 200 rafts. 15,000 men crossed the river on rafts. Took 6 hours. 47 soldiers drowned. Wei stood on the far bank, looked back. 47 soldiers lost, but 14,953 soldiers alive and still marching. May 1st, day 12, 50 kilometers from Yenangyaung. But intelligence brought bad news. Japanese had tightened around the British. preparing for final assault. Maybe 24 hours left. Wei gave the order, run. 15,000 soldiers ran 50 kilometers. April 18, 1942. A British intelligence officer opened a folder marked Top Secret Burma Operation in Churchill's war room. Inside was a single photograph. 7,000 British soldiers surrounded by Japanese forces in the Burmese jungle. Below it, one handwritten note, Chinese general demands impossible price for rescue. Recommend abandonment. Churchill stared at the photo for 11 minutes, silently. The other men in the room held their breath. Then the Prime Minister wrote 2 words, pay it. What he agreed to that night would change the entire Pacific War. But the cost was so devastating that both governments buried the truth until 1982, 40 years. This is the story of a military operation still carrying classified details, where one ally saved another, then was betrayed. And it all began with a Chinese general telling desperate Churchill one sentence, I have conditions. April 1942, the Burma front was collapsing. The Japanese Imperial Army, after their shocking victory at Pearl Harbor, was sweeping across Asia like a hurricane. Malaya fell, Singapore fell, Hong Kong fell. Now it was Burma's turn, and the British Indian Army's 7th Armored Brigade had been sent to defend the Yenangyaung oil fields. Brigadier John Winterton was a 54-year-old experienced officer. He'd fought at the Somme in World War I, seen Verdun, survived the trenches. But the enemy he faced in Burma was very different from the Germans in European trenches. The Japanese fought at night. They became invisible in the jungle. They moved behind British lines without a sound. And worst of all, they refused to accept defeat. On April 16th, the Japanese 33rd Army, under General Shozo Sakurai, attacked Yenangyaung. 30,000 Japanese soldiers, 3 columns. Winterton's 7,000 men tried to defend the oil fields, but within 48 hours they understood. This was a trap. The Japanese had drawn them into the oil fields. Now they were encircling them from every direction. North closed, south closed, west closed. The only exit was east, but there lay the Irrawaddy River, 400 meters wide, fast current, dangerous. And the bridges had been blown up by the British themselves to prevent Japanese crossing. Now they were trapped. On the night of April 17th, Winterton reported the final situation to command in Rangoon. Encircled, ammunition running low, will be forced to surrender within 72 hours. When the message reached London, Churchill was in a cabinet meeting. He read it, lifted his head, looked at the generals in the room. Options, he said. The war minister answered, none, sir. We can't send air support too far. No ground forces, naval forces can't reach Burma. The men are doomed. Churchill lit his cigar, blew smoke into the air. The Chinese, he said. The room went silent. At that moment, 400 miles north, in Kunming City, General Wei Lihuang, commander of the Chinese Expeditionary Force, was studying a map. Wei was 47 years old, one of Chiang Kai-shek's most trusted generals. He'd been fighting the Japanese since 1937. He'd witnessed the Nanking Massacre. He was there during Shanghai's fall, and he'd seen how the British fled to protect their own colonies, while Chinese died. Now the British were asking for help. His chief of staff, Colonel Chen Zhao, placed a document on the table. Official request from London, sir. 7,000 British soldiers encircled at Yenangyaung. They're requesting a rescue operation. Wei smiled, a bitter smile. The British? The British who abandoned us when Shanghai fell in 1937? The British who watched while Nanking burned in 1938? Chen nodded. Yes, sir, the same British. The other officers in the room murmured. There was anger in their voices. Wei raised his hand, requesting silence. What are they offering? He asked. Chen opened the file. Nothing, sir. Just, they say, Allied assistance. Wei laughed, but his eyes weren't smiling. Allies? They weren't allies when Chinese died while they watched. Now their own men are dying, they remembered us. Chen waited. He knew Wei's anger, but he also knew Wei's intelligence. The general stood up, approached the map, put his finger on Yenangyaung, then on Kunming, measured the distance between them. 650 kilometers, he said. Mountains, jungles, Japanese lines. And we'll go with 15,000 men to save 7,000 British. Silence. Then Wei turned. His eyes darkened. But on one condition,